One power everywhere present, one power. We call it God, whatever else you call it, doesn't matter. You can even say not God, that's still God. Did you know that God doesn't even need your identification with it? God is, no matter what you say about it. God is everywhere present. Everything that you see is God. Even those pews you're sitting on are made of God's substance. That's a strong unity teaching right there. That God is everywhere present. God is present in you. There's nothing that's not made out of the God stuff. That's just how it is. If it's created, that's God. The very act of creation is God. Everything that you see is God. Every person even that you see is God, bringing you into your wholeness. That's the good news and the bad news. Amen? Whoa! Right? I could see somebody already thinking, oh, I don't know about this person. Somebody was starting to make a list. I could feel it. No, not this person at work. Yes, I promise you. I promise you. God is everywhere present, and God is present in you, and everything that you see is God. That's why we talk so much about you being a soul and your soul growing, because all these situations that come to us that are trying, that are difficult, that are downright hard, that you wish you never saw, that you wish would just leave your doorstep, and here they keep showing up. I'm saying that's God bringing God up in you, bringing an awareness of God into your life. It happens to me all the time. You know, Spirit wants to make sure if I'm going to talk about something, I've got the lesson myself. So I'm never at a loss for receiving my own lessons and being humbled quite often. And I'll tell you what, I have been working in a process like you cannot believe. All day yesterday was, I had a few hours in the morning with my son that were fantastic, and then in the afternoon everything went off, and it was spirit time. It was time for me and Spirit to just go with no end time. Well, what a great thing. If you've never done that for yourself, do that for yourself, where everything goes off, everybody else waits, and you give yourself some time with Spirit, because that's where everything else comes from. Amen? You know, I'm so happy we're doing this series. This is our third week out of 4. Our series is called Many Faiths, One God, and we've been real blessed by the people who've come, and you're going to be blessed again today. No question about it. I feel so strongly about this idea and so strongly about what it is we're doing and what a difference it makes in the world. I know we can't always see the difference it makes. It looks like real small steps, and they are. But they're also giant steps. They're bigger steps than we can realize because of the impact they make with the communities we invite, and also with how we leave this place and how we start viewing other people. Because anytime there's an other, you're not living in alignment with Spirit. Anytime there's an other, no matter how you think about it, you're not living in alignment with Spirit. It's true in every culture and every subculture. Anytime there's a they, anytime there's a them and an us, you are in separation. You're not in the oneness teaching. Anytime. And it's true, I tell you, it's true in whites, it's true in blacks, African Americans, it's true Latino populations. I can't believe it. I can't believe every time I think there's a group that might be out, nope, there it is again. It's true in other cultures, sometimes just in classes, right? People that have the money are the us, and the people that don't have the money are the them. That's what it's starting to be in America, actually. The us and the them, right? And racially we've come far, but we've still got far to go, right? So anytime there's a them, homeless is another great example of a them in our culture. Gay and lesbian in some places, not here, but in some places there's a them. Right? It's a them. So anytime there's a them, you're not in alignment with Spirit. And you know, I've looked real closely at the teachings of Jesus many times. Never have I seen where Jesus says, now what y'all ought to do is get a bunch of buildings and get these buildings together, and you call yourself Baptist, and you call yourself Methodist, and you call yourself Unity, and you call yourself, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You call yourself Jehovah's Witness. And what I want you to do is have your own limited small theology, real small. And if nobody fits into that, you tell them they're wrong and they're going to go to hell, and you can be the only right one. That's not in there. And nowhere is that in there. I mean, it's just not there. I've looked over and over and over. But I'll tell you what religion is. Religion is trying to understand the infinite. There's nothing wrong with churches. But when we believe our church is the only church, yes, I believe that's a problem. That is a problem. That is not, Jesus was not a Baptist, right? Jesus was not a Methodist. Jesus was not an Episcopalian. Jesus was not in unity. He was not a Unitarian. He was a Jew. Right? We forget that. And the teaching is very, very simple. Right? Never did Jesus say, now disciples, I'm getting ready to die, and what I want y'all to do is create a list of rules. Since I'm not going to be here to help y'all, I want y'all to make some rules. And if anybody breaks the rule, you kick them out. That's not in there anywhere. It's the opposite. I'm going to read you a special story. I love it. It's in 3 of the 4 Gospels. And often is called the greatest commandment. In the Gospel of Mark, where we're going to work with it today, it's called the first commandment. But it's in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which says, this is an important story. This is the central teaching. So this is from the book of Mark, chapter 12, starting with verse 28, and it says this. One of the scribes came near and heard them disputing with one another, and seeing that he answered them well, he asked them, which commandment is the first of all? And Jesus answered, the first is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Now, I'm going to stop right there. I'm not trying to make this unity, you understand? That's how it reads. I didn't even metaphysicalize it or nothing. The Lord is one. Okay. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. The second is this. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Then the scribe said to him, you are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and besides him there is no other. And to love him with all the heart and with all the understanding, with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself. This is much more important than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. When Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. After that, no one dared ask him any question. Why? Because it's such a simple truth. That's the answer to every question. That is the answer. There are no more questions to ask because that's the answer. That's the answer. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. And I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I've worked at a lot of churches. I've worked in churches for 25, almost 30 years. Can you believe that? I've worked in churches almost 30 years in one form or another. My first job was as a choir director when I was a teenager. That was my first paid position at the church. My sister was the pianist and the organist, and I was the choir director. And churches are notorious for judging one another. The people in the churches, about other churches, what they're saying and not saying, how they look and don't look. I'm telling you, at one of my churches, one time we had this soloist in, and I loved this guy. His wife's name was Alice, so I liked that especially. But and he was a drummer, and he also sang. We had a lot in common. We had a shared history. A number of things we had in common. He's a great guy, and he got up on Sunday, and he did a great job. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy, when he sings, he just sang, his whole body sang. It was just, And sometimes he'd play drums, sing at the same time. It's very powerful. Well, this Sunday, he actually had come out from behind the drum set and sang, and then we were in staff meeting, we were saying how great it was, and then somebody said, well, I don't know if you guys heard, but somebody said his pants were too long. I looked around the staff meeting, everybody was saying, oh, yeah, they were kind of long. And I said, what? Are we talking about his pants were too long? So you're saying, I said, well, did he sound good? Oh, my gosh, weren't you there? He sounded great. I said, well, was he dialed into spirit? Oh, yes, he was dialed into spirit. Then why are we talking about his pants? Has our mind gotten that small that that's all that's called an ouch looking for a hurt? Right? I mean, it's like, could your mind be any bigger? Right? You had to look for that. Right? What if instead of looking for what's wrong, you were looking for what's right? I love that bumper sticker, if anything can go well, it will. There's also this great song that's been really vibing with me, What If It All Goes Right? What if it all goes right? So what if you were looking for how can I love another person instead of how can I pick out what's wrong? Right? The Bible is so clear. I mean, it's such a pristine teaching. And guess what? Jesus is not the only one that said it. It's in every religion. It's in the native religions. It's in Buddhism. Every one that we study, that's the rule. Everything else is commentary on that one law. On that one law. Love God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love my neighbor as myself. So that's work for us to do, right? That's work in our workplaces, work in our homes, right? And I'm not saying you can't have boundaries. No, don't hear that. You can still have boundaries. No problem with boundaries. You can love from far away if you need. You can. You can. You can love from far away. You don't have to be right up next to, right, addiction. That's harmful to you. That's loving yourself, to know when to move from that, right? Well, our gentleman here today, I adore this man. His name is Dr. Naveed Vahidi, and he is from the Baha'i Center in Orlando. And what I love about Baha'i, well, there are many, many things, and he'll tell you a few things, but there are many things. But the thing I love is they have the same teaching, really, about oneness and about God, and about our role being to serve one another in love. So please help me welcome. He's going to speak for a few minutes, Dr. Naveed Vahidi.
Cynthia, I have a little gift for you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy it. It's got a lot of pictures, which is what I like.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good for somebody like me. Thank you.
I hope my pants are not too long. And I don't even know why I'm standing here, because Cynthia just, I always call her power of nature. She's already verbalized everything that I believe. So, but it's a privilege to be here. It's an honor to be here. And I just wanted everybody here to understand what a love and affection I have for all of you and your congregation. For what happened to us about 4 years ago, our Baha'i Center burned down, and Greg offered that, asked us, he said, if you want to come and pray and practice your faith, you can come here. We have a big building, use it. And that was one of the most important gestures that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime from another congregation. And it really makes, I'm sure, Papa Charlie and Mama Myrtle are very proud of everybody here. My purpose is usually what we do in Baha'i meetings, we start with a prayer. And there's a prayer that I always recite. It's called an obligatory prayer. We're sort of lucky because Muslims have to pray 5 times a day. We don't have to pray 5 times a day. We can just do it once. And I went with the short obligatory prayer, which I'm going to recite for you. I bear witness, O my God, that thou hast created me to know thee and to worship thee. I testify at this moment to my powerlessness and to thy might, to my poverty and to thy wealth. There is none other God but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. We recite this every day to remind ourselves who we are and why we're here. The purpose of religion, as Cynthia has mentioned, is to help advance the civilization of mankind. And it takes different forms and different shapes, different names. There are different mouthpieces that come. They're called Muhammad or Jesus or Moses or Baha'u'llah or Buddha or Krishna. But the essential teachings of all faiths are the same. And the major cornerstone of the Baha'i faith is to accept that and confirm it and clarify it and teach it. There's a small writing that I'd like to read for you. It's one of my favorite pieces from Abdul Baha, who's the son of our prophet. And he came to the United States in 1912, and he was talking to some Baha'is to try to explain to them what they should do and how they should be. How are we doing on the feedback? Are we going okay? All right. You must manifest complete love and affection toward all mankind. Do not exalt yourselves above others, but consider all as your equals, recognizing them as the servants of one God. Know that God is compassionate toward all. Therefore, love all from the depths of your hearts. Prefer all religionists before yourselves. Be filled with love for every race. and be kind toward the people of all nationalities. Never speak disparagingly of others, but praise without distinction. Pollute not your tongues by speaking evil of another. Recognize your enemies as friends, and consider those who wish you evil as the wishers of good. You must not see evil as evil and then compromise with your opinion, for to treat in a smooth, kindly way one whom you consider evil or an enemy is hypocrisy. And this is not worthy of or allowable. You must consider your enemies as your friends, look upon your evil wishers as well-wishers, and treat them accordingly. Act in such a way that your heart may be free from hatred. Let not your heart be offended with anyone. If someone commits an error and wrong towards you, you must instantly forgive him. Do not complain of others. Refrain from reprimanding them. And if you wish to give admonition or advice, let it be offered in such a way that it will not burden the bearer. Turn all your thoughts toward bringing joy to hearts. Beware, beware, lest you offend any heart. Assist the world of humanity as much as possible. Be the source of consolation to every sad one. Assist every weak one. Be helpful to every indigent one. Care for every sick one. Be the cause of glorification to every lowly one, and shelter those who are overshadowed by fear. In brief, let each one of you be as a lamp shining forth with the light of the virtues of the world of humanity. Be trustworthy, sincere, affectionate, and replete with chastity. Be illumined, be spiritual, be divine, be glorious, be quickened of God, and be a Baha'i. He could have said, be a Christian, be a Jew, be a Muslim, be a Buddhist, or be a Hindu, and it would have made no difference for me. And he really meant it in that spirit. The story of the Baha'i faith started about 107 years ago in a country that is its cradle, and unfortunately it's a place that's not very friendly to the Baha'is right now. It started in Iran, and Baha'u'llah is the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. And his main teaching is to help us understand the relationship between various faiths and understand that its main goal for the future of humanity is to implement the teachings of Jesus, which is turn swords into plowshares. The purpose of the Baha'i faith is to implement peace through unification of mankind. And the recipe and the blueprints for that are provided by Baha'u'llah, which, fortunately for you, you can all Google it. I don't have to tell you all the, the Baha'i faith is also about, is a religion, is a new independent faith. It's not a cult or a branch of any other religion, but it is really the same. It's and that common thread that binds us all. When you see a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew, and they may not realize it, but they are all connected and bound to each other through the same God that fathered Jesus Christ, or presented itself to Muhammad in the form of angel Gabriel, or sort of showed itself as a burning bush to Moses. And the purpose of God has always been the same, is unity and oneness. The fact that you see animosities between various faiths is not God's fault. It's our fault. And it's our misunderstanding. And when I see someone like Cynthia up here who talks about oneness, and a church like this who talks about unity, I'm speechless. I'm not used to it. I'm blessed to be here. We're a small group of people, and unfortunately, we're used to being heavily persecuted in our own country. We have no political aspirations, but I guess we do, because we want the world of humanity to become one. And really, the purpose of Baha'u'llah, of revealing his dispensation to humanity, is really peace on earth through unification and formation of a commonwealth of nations. The spiritual principles are the same as what you already know. There's no difference. If you read the Bible or if you read the Quran, the spiritual principles are very similar. It's those non-essential principles that are different from one dispensation to the next. And having said all that, I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to dedicate this talk to a person that I've never met. His name is Ataullah. He was, unfortunately, he lost his life about 3 weeks ago because of his faith. So there are people who are dying for this belief, and I just wanted you to be aware of it. Again, I feel such a kinship to all of you, and thank you for having me here. If I can answer any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, but you're better off just Googling it. So, thank you.